This is Energy of Business Moments with Michael Sipe, the show that takes you around the world to share interviews with some of the most successful and relevant people on the planet. Hear their stories and get the most important business lessons they have learned on their road to success, and get exclusive advice on how to implement their business success into your life and business. Energy of Business Moments is brought to you by the Strategic Advisor Board and your host, Michael Sipe.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Strategic Advisor Board Energy of Business Moments podcast. I'm Michael Sipe, your host, and today we've got Ryan Martin of Fulfillment Co. He owns 3 companies that are operated out of Colorado Springs, and it's great to have him here on the show today because he's got some great insight. Ryan, welcome to the show.
Michael, thank you for having me.
Yeah, great to have you here. Well, Ryan, I said a little bit that you're in Colorado Springs. I know that as a customer of the mail center myself, I know a little bit about your business, but hey, let's tell us some more about your background and then how you got your business started.
Yeah, thanks. And it's funny, when we first connected that I didn't even know you were one of my mailbox customers. But right now I'm still an active duty Army helicopter pilot, but I started buying a business back in Colorado Springs when I was a young lieutenant, and just from there the businesses have grown and we've expanded and got into different niches and kind of taken it from there. Right now I physically live in Richmond, Virginia, and I got 2 wonderful business partners, a husband-wife team, Brian and Jen Rorig, who manage the day-to-day. And if you were to give me a title, it would be Chief Strategy Officer or Chief Fire Starter. They like to say that I start all the fires that ask them to contain.
Yeah, great. Well, good. Well, tell me a little bit more about Fulfillment Co. and how that operates and what you're doing there.
Yeah, Fulfillment Co. is a third-party logistics business. It's operated out of Colorado Springs, and it really grew out of just a necessity from the mail center. So like yourself, you're a mailbox holder with a business, and there were plenty of other businesses who were renting mailboxes from me and dropping off packages every single day. And one day, one such business came and dropped off a whole bunch of packages of these collapsible EDM rave hula hoops. And
Wow.
they compressed down to a tiny size, and she was shipping them out and dropping off just tons to me. And I was taking them, just processing them as a USPS drop off. But then I just kind of thought to myself, like, well, how can I make a margin or help this business grow or offset some of the logistics that she had. I didn't even have the name for it, being fulfillment, but it started off with her sending me an Excel spreadsheet once a week, and I'd manually gin up all the labels. I found her reduced shipping rates and had like a 50-cent margin on this, and thought it was pretty good. Thought it was a pretty good margin to start with.
Yep.
And then we just started reaching out to some of our other businesses that have mailboxes with us, and took it from there. The big break for us was this one company that did a Kickstarter. So they were pre-revenue, pre-sales, pre-figuring anything out. And they had some components coming from China, others from India. They needed a place to warehouse, assemble, and ship it out to these 800, backers from their fundraising campaign. And that's where we got involved and kind of really started partnering with e-commerce businesses, because we started off where, if the client can literally come into your door and ask you how their fulfillment's going, or an order's messed up, or why does it cost this much for that kind of service, then we kind of have that small business partnering attitude that we took to every e-commerce business that's come into us. And then eventually we got big enough where it outgrew the back room of the pack and ship store. It outgrew my first business partner's girlfriend's garage. It outgrew a small office space we were renting for $450 a month on Craigslist, from Craigslist ad. And then now we're in some proper warehouse space.
Yeah. Wow. Congratulations on that expansion, starting small with a 50-cent margin and then just keep going and seeing opportunity and then reaching out. That's pretty impressive. So what I love about what you're talking is how the kind of energy that you bring to your business is one of expansion mindset, really. And so how would you describe that mindset that you have? Is that just something that's natural to you, or are you just always looking for solutions and just looking to expand that way? How would you describe that kind of mindset you have?
I think first off in business is just maybe just following the dollars, seeing where the opportunities are. You had all these businesses selling a whole bunch of widgets online, and they didn't get into business to pack and ship and worry about corrugate and bubble margins. They got into business because they had a brand or a product or a message they wanted to sell. So I knew that I could offload a lot of that work, a lot of that headaches, a lot of the ankle biters, that there was some good margins to be had. And then just had, I guess, the risk tolerance to double down. Like, it doesn't hurt having a good W-2 paying job in order to take those kinds of risks, but it was a calculated risk, still all the same. And yeah, just took it from there, just one avenue at a time, and just kind of like a never say no attitude. If are you doing a whole bunch of subscription boxes, we can find out how to do subscription boxes. Do you have a 3D printed product on demand? We can do that too. So it's been really cool just seeing all the different industries out there that's come through our warehouse.
Yeah, that sounds actually kind of fun, where you're in that mode of like, if it, even if there's a little bit of risk, there's an opportunity. And if I can take advantage of that opportunity and help somebody else out while I'm doing that, it's sort of a charitable business moment where, yeah, it's a benefit to you, but you're also helping other businesses grow. How true is it that you feel great about doing that?
Yeah, I'd say the first kind of good feeling, successful moment where I knew there was something to Fulfillment Co. Was when the client with the that first came to us, our first big client, just took off from a Kickstarter campaign to doing 100 orders a month, and we were doing all the assembly and logistics for them. And then all of a sudden, they got a purchase order from Urban Outfitters.
Wow.
And as far as the logistics they budgeted, it was $80,000. And I got a check for $80,000, and I just had to figure out how to make it work, how to get 2 shipping containers from China, a couple crates from India into Colorado, and then assemble 5,400 high-end water bottles and then ship them to Urban Outfitters warehouse. And I knew anything that I could do underneath that was mine to keep. And so that was like a nice moment. We've moved on from water bottles to a niche product called chicken nipples that's selling like hotcakes. A little widget that goes into for agrarian farmers that you stick into a water barrel, where the old method, I guess, is just poking a hole in the side of it and letting the water drain out. And now it's a perfectly sized nipple for a chicken to peck, and distributes the perfect amount of water. So we learn all sorts of interesting things from our clients in 3D printing, inject mold, in the exploding CBD and kratom markets. It's been a wild ride, and just exposed me to a lot of different businesses.
Great. Well, that is neat. And when you see all these different products, I'm wondering, how often do the gears go in your head where you're like, oh, if I could get that company talking to that company, they might be able to make something together here. How often does that happen for you?
Yeah, we've made some connections. I think, we don't give away any kind of proprietary information, but we have one company that sells a certain tea product, and they were looking for a CBD infused honey product to complement it, having a lot of issues with that, finding that kind of niche to complement the tea. And with enough time, a company that did New Zealand honey came into our warehouse, and they were doing a CBD version of that product, and just made that connection. Another time, a 3D printer, has an army of 18 3D printers just going nonstop in their garage and refilling our bins at the warehouse, and was able to connect him with a special engineering product for another client. So just making those connections has really been interesting. It's always led to more business. I'd say the doing right by our clients and doing right by our clients' manufacturers has really paid off, because when someone comes in for a couple pallets of a certain product, if it doesn't sell, that manufacturer doesn't get any kind of sell through. They don't get that repeat business. But when they have a good 3PL like us, we found that they just keep referring new clients for the different things that they manufacture to be fulfilled out of our warehouse.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's awesome. And I love how your business is growing there. Sometimes, especially in the supply chain world today, there's obviously a lot of talk about disruption to the supply chain. How would you say that's affected you, and how have you pivoted around that?
So, the models of buying big, buying cheap in China and getting it into America, like just in time fulfillment, has definitely been challenged. We still see plenty of clients still doing that, but lags and out of stocks in their businesses. But there's a lot of good manufacturers in America. The 3D printers around us, the CVD labs around us. We're reaching out to local Colorado-based manufacturers in order to shorten the logistic lines of their clients. So if right down the road, we're picking up, a couple pallets of that client's products, bringing it into our warehouse, probably just saved them $800 on freight right there instead of shipping it out to someone else. And having that quick flash to bang, being able to know that you need a reorder, what your lead times are on that American manufacturing is a lot more solidified. Nothing's perfect, but a lot more solidified than hoping that a partial shipping container from China gets in through the Port of Los Angeles in time.
Yeah, good. Well, it sounds like that experience, then obviously knowing locally those manufacturers helps see solutions when people are used to doing that bulk order from overseas and then getting disrupted that way. So good for you to have that perspective. So my next question for you is, if you could meet anybody in the world, deceased or living, who would that be and why?
That would be my all-time favorite entrepreneur, Sam Zamuri, the banana jobber from the time of United Fruit, who came to America with no money in his pocket and just saw an opportunity of selling ripe bananas, because back then, if a banana wasn't perfectly green, they wouldn't actually they would sell them on the dirt cheap, because they had to get these bananas all over the place. And so he saw an opportunity to just rent out space in a freight car and just sell out the back of the freight car directly to manufacturers along his trip. So he'd go from New Orleans out to Georgia, New Orleans out to Chicago, and just sell bananas out of the back of the truck all day to local grocery stores. And that's kind of the beginning of maybe a DTC or a small base B2B business. And I just think that's brilliant. And he also had a whole bunch of master strokes in business later on that I just love knowing about him and studying about what he did. There's a book about him called The Fish That Ate the Whale. And that's kind of how he, being a majority shareholder, being forced to sell to United Fruit, ended up taking over United Fruit in an early hostile takeover, if there was ever a definition of it.
Yeah. Wow, that's sounds like a really great story, and obviously got some good stuff that's relevant to today. It's not, too old. Some of those principles still stick around for a long time. So thanks for sharing that. Ryan, how can people get a hold of you and know more about your business?
Well, I'm on LinkedIn. If you look up Ryan Martin and Fulfillment Co., or Ryan Martin and the Mail Center, or Colorado Springs Fingerprinting, I'm the only one that comes up. And then also my direct line to the email I monitor most is at my Fulfillment Co. website. So fulfillmentco.com, and then contact us and it'll lead you right to info@fulfillmentco.com. So I'm on the sales side of our business, and I do the initial onboarding and integration with all our new clients. That's kind of the role I play right now, is a sales and onboarding role. And that's how you can get in touch with me, because that's the one I monitor the most, info@fulfillmentco.com.
Great. Well, thank you, Ryan. As owner and having that strategic vision of where to go and being able to sense that sales opportunities, I think you're in a great spot. So thanks again for being on the show today. I appreciate it very much. There's some great content for people, and I'm really pleased to have had you here.
Michael, thanks so much for having me.
Thanks for listening to Energy of Business Moments with your host, Michael Sipe. Please leave your feedback and visit strategicadvisorboard.com to get the latest and greatest business advisement on the planet. Follow us on social media for updates, and we will see you on the next episode.